So let me take you back to just a few years ago, probably 7, so a little more than a few. My wife wanted me to go out to dinner with her for the first time since I had been in a wheelchair. And I had refused to go out in public, so probably a little longer than 7 years ago. I had refused to go out in public in my wheelchair because I cared about what other people's perceptions might be with me being in a wheelchair. For starters, I didn't want to have people see me drip food on myself. I didn't want to have them see me make mistakes trying to cut up food with a knife, or drop my fork on the floor, or spill water on my lip, which was common for me back then. I didn't want people to stare at me in a wheelchair. Ever had that feeling before? I didn't want people to look at my faults and my weaknesses instead of who I felt like I really was. And so for those reasons, I chose to stay pretty much an introverted lifestyle and chose to stay indoors. And my wife, she wanted me to go out. It was for a special occasion. She wanted me to go out and take her to her favorite restaurant, which is called the Red Lobster. So Red Lobster is where she likes to eat. By the way, gentlemen, just as a side note, when you find a lady whose favorite restaurant is the Red Lobster, you probably should marry her for a lifetime and eternity, because that's called low maintenance. That's not part of today's topic, but just some word of advice. Red Lobster, cheap, not very expensive. Marry her for eternity. A lot higher maintenance women that are out there. With that said, Shondell convinced me to go to Red Lobster, and something happened that night. I went reluctantly. I was not happy, did not have a positive attitude. I remember sitting in the lobby, and Shondell holding that little, they give you a little sound bite. It's a little box with a red light that flashes when your table is ready and it vibrates. I remember just watching Shondell's hand, praying that thing would not light up, and sure enough, it lit up, which meant our table is ready. Now we go into the open area where people are eating their food, enjoying each other's company, and I did not want to be at that Red Lobster restaurant. So I wheel my chair in and I follow my wife, and I guarantee you people are watching me, and I go wheel up to the table, and my countenance isn't very good, and I'll never forget what happened. They begin to bring us out our waters, and I'm thinking, that's a glass bottle. I drop glass. I'd rather have plastic, but Shondell asked for a straw for me, so I sipped some water, and I wasn't really creating conversation. It was kind of quiet, and I looked across the restaurant, and lo and behold, I saw. Now the restaurant was full, but my eye caught another couple, and it caught another couple because she was in a wheelchair, and she was laughing with whoever was across the table, and I'm gonna assume it was her date. I'm gonna assume that. I don't know if she was married or not. They were an older couple. I don't know if they had kids. I just know it was a lady in a wheelchair, similar to my circumstance. The only difference was she was female and she was laughing. I was male and I was not. There's the difference. And so I watched them as the waiter brought out our appetizer and the steak and lobster and shrimp fest and all that stuff. I kept looking over at her like this, I'd talk to my wife and try and make things good, but then I'd kind of look over and see what she was doing, and she was laughing, and her hands were curled like mine, and she would try and cut up her steak, and she'd flip some shrimp on the floor, and she'd laugh about it, and he would throw his napkin on the floor, and it was funny to look at, and they were having a good time, whereas me, I was tense. I was so tense that I was paralyzed. I mean, that's how tense I was. I thought I was paralyzed before. I was really trapped, and you could tell that she had no care in the world about what other people were thinking about her circumstance. And after looking at her and watching her, I decided that night to laugh with Shondell and have a good time. I can't give you her name because I didn't go up and thank her. I don't even know who she was, although her face will forever exist in my memory. Forever. One day I'll see her again. I know I will. And I'll go up to her and I'll thank her for the impact she had on my life, even though she doesn't know she had an impact on my life. It changed my life forever. It made me think the power of not worrying about what other people think about you and how it can affect other people. The same holds true for you watching this video.